Democrats have launched a blitz accusing the Trump administration of separating children from their parents and housing them in literally concentration camps along the border. Leftist politicians, from senators to Hillary Clinton, took their best shots.
It is unacceptable in my mind, I think in the minds and hearts of any American, that someone can justify a policy of deliberate harm to children as a way to gain legislative leverage.
In fact, what he's doing is holding these kids and their parents hostage to a whole set of other immigration issues.
Separating families is not mandated by law at all. That is an outright lie. And it's incumbent on all of us, journalists and citizens alike, to call it just that.
Okay, well, she should know something about lying, right? With emotions running this hot. So is this a PR battle the administration can win? Let's discuss all this with the head of the Justice Department. We are pleased to welcome Attorney General Jeff Sessions. First time on the Ingraham Angle. General Sessions, thank you so much for being with us. There's a lot to get to tonight, but you heard what Mrs. Clinton said, that this is a lie. This is not caused by the Obama administration. This doesn't have to be done. The president could pick up the phone tonight and stop this policy of separating children from their parents. What's the real truth there, General Sessions?
Well, I guess what she's saying is the president could just issue a directive that everybody that enters the country unlawfully be released into the country and never be apprehended or stopped or prosecuted for the illegal entry. We have watched what happened with the Obama policies, and over the years we went from 15,000 illegal entries to 75,000. This is a huge loophole in our system that's attracting more and more people as more and more people understand that under the previous policies, if they were entered the country unlawfully, nothing ever happened. We're doing the right thing. We're taking care of these children. They are not being abused. The Health and Human Services holds them in good conditions. They work hard at it. We spent $1 billion last year, Health and Human Services did, in taking care of children who've entered the country unlawfully. And Laura, one more thing, the vast majority of those children still tend to be the unaccompanied minors, but we've had a big surge in families bringing children or some adults bringing children with them.
Yeah, one of the shelters not too far from the border has 90% of the kids were unaccompanied minors, 10% were separated from their families. Just so my viewers understand this, General Sessions, what happens when a family unit, you see them all on the bridges, which I think is just absurd, that they just stay on the bridges near the ports of entry near San Diego. Now, when they get processed in, and it's slow, they get processed in, and it's a woman says, this is my child, or two children, then what happens? Are they separated if they claim asylum? Say, I want to claim asylum. What happens to the mother and the children at that point?
If they enter the country at a port of entry, and there are many of those along the border, they are not violating the law. The mother or father in that circumstance would not be prosecuted, and the families stay together. They're presumably they're claiming an asylum, and they would not be prosecuted and not be separated. But if they go out in the desert, they cross a fence or a barrier, our officers have to identify them, follow them, apprehend them. They're violating the law, and they need to be prosecuted for that. We simply cannot condone that kind of activity. We want to end this process of children being brought across dangerous territory, placing those children at risk. If they want to claim asylum, let them go through the port of entry. That's the way it should be done.
Yeah, I think most people aren't understanding this. I think most people think that if you come even through one of the, 25 ports of entry, you have your family separated. That's not how it's working. It's a rare circumstance when I think the Border Patrol people know that this person is not related to this other person, and they can figure it out pretty quickly in those circumstances. But I just think it was important to have the people understand that. This is how your opponents, General Sessions, are demagoguing this issue. Let's listen.
I walked down that railroad siding where the families were separated, and that's why I used that picture. Now, look, I know we're not Nazi Germany, all right? But there is a commonality there
This is the United States of America. It isn't Nazi Germany, and there's a difference. And we don't take children from their parents until now.
Nazi Germany, concentration camps, human rights violations. Laura Bush has weighed in, Michelle Obama, Rosalind Carter, got all the first ladies going back to Eleanor Roosevelt. She's apparently weighed in as well. General Sessions, what's going on here?
Well, it's a real exaggeration. Of course, in Nazi Germany, they were keeping the Jews from leaving the country. But this is a serious matter. We need to think it through, be rational and thoughtful about it. We want to allow asylum for people who qualify for it, but people who want economic migration for their personal financial benefit and what they think is their family's benefit is not a basis for a claim of asylum. But they can make that claim. We will process it and review the situation and make a decision. Those children, if the parent brings them across the border in an unlawful area and the parent is deported, they will take the children home with them. That is true. If the parent claims asylum and is allowed to stay here, then the children stay here also and be kept in Health and Human Services custody.
Yeah. General Sessions, is this policy in part used as a deterrent? Are you trying to deter people from bringing children or minors across this dangerous journey? Is that part of what the separation is about?
Fundamentally, we're enforcing the law. If you break into the country in an unlawful...
But is it a deterrent, sir?
Well,
Are you considering this a deterrent?
I see that the fact that no one was being prosecuted for this as a factor in a 5-fold increase in 4 years in this kind of illegal immigration. So, yes, hopefully people will get the message and come through the border at the port of entry and not break across the border unlawfully.
And let me get your quick thoughts, sir, if you would, on this looming showdown with congressional investigators. They're trying to get those documents, as you know, from your department. And Trey Gowdy, oversight chair, he said yesterday that officials will be held in contempt of Congress if the DOJ and FBI do not comply with the subpoenas. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've gone a long way in dealing with that. The FBI has worked hard on it, I think. An agreement was signed with Mr. Gowdy and Chairman Goodlatte, both chairmen, to have 12 of their staffers at the Department of Justice, at the FBI, looking at these records. And so I think that's moving along pretty well. Hopefully there's no problems there. But they're out of patience.
General Sessions, I hate to interrupt you. They're out of patience. They feel like they've been asking for these documents. Some of these documents end up showing up with the IG report that Congress asked for months and months and months ago. So you can't, I mean, you were in Congress. You know what it's like to try to do oversight. It's really frustrating. And they're going to hold Rosenstein in contempt. I mean, they're going to hold him in contempt of Congress. Then what?
Well, we have a responsibility to respond to Congress. We intend to be responsive to Congress. If we're running behind in production, we'll take efforts to step it up. And we have a responsibility to produce the documents that are properly disclosable, and we intend to do so. That's my direction to the department.
Senator Sessions, Attorney General Sessions, just one more question. Are you involved at all in discussions about a possible recusal of Rod Rosenstein from overseeing Mueller, given the fact that he did sign one of those FISA warrants? It's a big, it's a big controversy in this case.
I am not involved in that. He is the acting Attorney General for that matter, and he has to make his own decision as I had to make my decision.
Got it. Got it. General Sessions, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. Such important issues at the border. We really appreciate it.